Hi, good evening, all. This is another in point again here at Dorin Anghelescu. Recently, we saw Trey Crowder brings up a good one. The Tennessee redneck who talks with that drawl, y'all. I like him a lot. I keep posting him to my Facebook page. But there is a lot of truth in what he says, and I had to expand on his point a bit. It's not Donald Trump that we have so much to watch out for. It's who comes after him. Yes, Donald Trump is a loudmouth, misogynist, racist, homophobic bigot, and he's proud of it. But the problem is that is not so much with Donald Trump. It is the population who would elect him and put him into power. Now, there is, first of all, we have to understand there is two parts to America right now. Just like there is in many parts of the world that are in a polar opposition to each other, and they don't fully understand why. But the reason that there is this division really is very simple. It is a matter of economics. There is part one of the American population who is educated, they are well read, they have at least a college degree or they are working to it, much like I am. Working toward my college degree in nursing. I want my minimum of my bachelor's RN, but I would actually like to make that the goal of going for my master's. And I'm in the process of it now. I start college again this fall. I've already completed one nursing license. So the point is, though, there is a part A which is made up of people like me and similar to me and even like well above me who have had college education for years. They're educated, they know what is going on, and they have benefited a great deal from the rebound in the economy. Okay, then we have the part two of the American economy. They are not as much college educated. They have not had the opportunities to go back to college or have not chosen to utilize them. And they are living more in the countryside parts of America, not in the big cities or the metropolitan areas. The Rust Belt is pretty much done, and a lot of them are lagging behind for whatever jobs they can get there. I'm talking about Michigan, Wisconsin, and places like this where Detroit used to be at one time the auto capital of the world and producing parts and machinery. Now it is like less than half of the population, and it is largely being abandoned. Places like Gary, Indiana, and others that are falling into states of ruin because they are largely being abandoned. Shopping malls that have not had people in them for 10 years. Churches that have been vacant for 20. Factories that have been vacant longer than that. It is happening all over around the Rust Belt. Indiana, Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania. The workplace is changing, and these people who maybe had a trade certificate or had learned mechanics or worked in a factory building transmissions, making tires, things of this sort, they are not participating in the recovery in the economy. For them, it is not real. They see that they are not part of the process. In fact, they think the process is passing them by, and they have been fired up and stirred up by people who are blaming immigrants because they took our jobs. It is the problem of the black-skinned people and the brown-skinned people, and now it is the gay people that are going to be taking advantage of transgendered people in the bathrooms, molesting our children. See, they are being taught to hate amongst each other, and their hate is actually encouraged and promoted by the very party that wants their vote but doesn't bother to tell them the truth, that they are voting against their own best interest. So in many ways, yes, Trey Crowder, he makes a very good point. Make America white again. We are looking at people like Donald Trump, make America great again. Well, he is appealing to that part two of the America who has does not have a college education, but maybe had a technical trade and find that technical trade is no longer valid anymore. Or wages have remained stagnant. Their salaries have remained stagnant. They do not feel that they are part in the recovery process. And Republicans at the same time are trying to cut any social programs that could help them. They're trying to cut food stamp programs that could feed their children because, I mean, it's only really, Republican congressmen, it's only their children that have to eat. So they're getting these people who are poor to go ahead and vote against their own best interests by appealing to their hate values. or feeding them hate values to go ahead and appeal to. That they apply it to their lives. So it's not so much a Donald Trump that we actually have to watch out for. It is going to be who comes after him in 2020 or 2024 that could suddenly be making things a lot worse. Because someone who is polished, who is smooth, who is slick, who is like a Ben Carson, a Mike Huckabee, a Ted Cruz, a Jeb Bush, but with a bit more energy and a bit more flair, can actually be the person who unites all these people that will point to, just like happened in Germany, point to the Jews and say, hey, it is them that is the problem. That is what I'm afraid of. That is what I'm afraid that we could elect. So yes, we do need to go ahead and vote blue this time. And I plan on voting blue right on down the board. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but I do not like the Republican Party any longer, and I hate everything it stands for. It is nothing like what it used to be. It is not the party of Lincoln and Eisenhower and Roosevelt and Goldwater, or even Ronald Reagan, I used to like him at one time, but now that I've learned about some of the shit he has done, he is no longer one of my favorites either. I think he did more damage than he did good. I'm sure of it. But the Democratic Party had better get on the party line and understand that if their section of the recovery process of bringing America about and make sure that it works for everyone, and Hillary Clinton, I'm addressing you this directly because I think Bernie understands this, and I believe that you understand it as well, but you two need to team up together. I think I would love to see Hillary, when you win, I would love to see Bernie Sanders made Secretary of Commerce, because I think it would be a job that he would be very, very good at. Maybe even the Secretary of the Treasury, because he understands America's financial problems better than a lot of people do, I think. But whatever part of the recovery process, if we are going to hold on to any kind of progress in America going forward, we are going to have to bring America's Part 2 into the equation. We are going to have to make sure they benefit from it as well. We are going to have to make sure that they see a piece of this recovery. We are going to have to make sure that they have the same educational opportunities in rural Tennessee to go ahead and make their lives better and move their lives forward the same way that I do here in Phoenix, and that a young college student has going to community college in Los Angeles or Seattle, Washington, or Portland, Oregon, or Chicago, or New York City, or Boston, Massachusetts. You get what I'm saying? Because if we don't, then what is going to happen is that I'm sorry, English is not my first language. Their not animosity, their unhappiness, for the lack of the better word I cannot think of at the moment, is going to continue to grow. And if it continues to grow, then it's going to fester. And when it comes out and it starts to fester, that it is going to encourage people to turn against each other, and things are going to get even worse. And I don't think in 4 years, but in 8 years, let's say that Hillary does go ahead and win a first and second term. I would love to see it. I know that Hillary has her share of faults, but I will keep on it. I will work with her. And anybody remember that we don't just elect our politicians and walk away and trust them to do a good job of what we want. You have to call, you have to write, you have to email, you have to let them know when they've done something wrong, and you also have to make it clear and let them know when they've done something right. Because if they don't hear from us, all they hear from is these super PACs. Okay, and this is how it works. So remember that the recovery process has to include the Americans who feel like they have been left out of it. And who feels like they have been left out of it? The man in Tennessee who put up a billboard that says, "Let's make America white again." Because everybody is sort of like dismissing him for the ridiculous redneck hillbilly that he is. And I'm grateful and I understand it. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a problem. Okay, there very much is a problem. And the problem is growing. And if it does not include that segment of the population who seems to think that gay and black and Mexican people are the problem and that they want to make America white again by voting for Donald Trump because he appeals to their hate base, that if they are not part of the recovery process, their numbers are going to grow. And if their numbers are going to grow, then they could actually start swaying some younger voters along with them that seem to think that if the recovery process does not include everyone, that maybe progressivism isn't working. Because we already know that conservatism isn't working. If it was working, we would all be happy as a clan, getting along really well. We would have money saved up in the bank. We would not be a country in debt, and we would just be literally rolling over awash in money and happiness. Okay, but it's not. Conservatism is another great big failure. It is a terrible failure. And socialism and fascism have very little to do with each other. So don't let people convince you that socialism will work into fascism. In your own country here, right through the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, we were very much a socialist nation with a top tax rate for the rich people at 74%, and the middle class never had it so good. Okay, I was not here during this time, but I can read. I know history, and I encourage you, get knowledgeable, get involved, figure out what is going on. Get involved with the Democratic Party, because the Republicans, they don't care. They have totally lost it. I hope they just disintegrate into the dustbin of history. But if they do, it is only because honest, good, hardworking Democrats step up and realize that there is a problem and that they can't go forward, and we can't all go forward until everybody who has been left out of this recovery can also pick themselves up by their feet and get back on a good standing and start to build a financial future, and we all go forward together. We cannot go forward at all if even half of our population does not feel this recovery. And when you're talking about some of the rural areas of the country, that is exactly what is happening. The big cities are doing well, and the rural areas are falling behind. So, yes, this is where I liked Barack Obama's plan to expand use of the internet in rural areas. Let people get in and find out there is a great big world around them. But it also has to come with ongoing educational opportunities, reduced rates of student debt, possibly at least 2 to 4 years of community college for some of the hardest hit areas free. Even if it means that the general nation of taxpayers has to pay for it to bring them up so they get an education. This has to be how it works. There is going to be no other process that I can see that will bring everybody on board so we're all going the same direction at the same rate of speed. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, think about that. Good night. Please follow me on Facebook. Follow me on YouTube. Follow Trey Crowder. Trey, I love you. You're effing hilarious. I love that accent of yours. I hope maybe someday you get to see my videos and you like mine. I am from Eastern Europe. You are from Eastern U.S. In the Tennessee area. I just love that country. What is it? The country drawl you got going on. But you are making a lot of sense, and I appreciate your effort. So anyway, good night, everyone. God bless. And follow me on Facebook and YouTube. Add your own comment. Make video of your own. We all stand together, shoulder to shoulder, to the future to make things better, or we fall apart. And I'll be damned if I want to let the right wing basically drive us against each other to the point where they have us going into a civil war. Because frankly, I think it is what they are trying to do. God bless everyone. No aptabuna. Dumnezeu să te binecuvânteze.